Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Ministry Platform webinar. And we are really excited today to be talking about our brand new integration with Background Information Services, BIS. Today, Chris and I are your lovely hosts. Anything you want to say this afternoon, Chris?
I'm so excited. Today's a kind of another turning point for us as a company. I'm not going to spoil the news because I'm going to let Megan do that. Basically, the only thing I'm saying today is hello. We're so glad you guys are here. And don't forget to sign up for MPUG. MPUG registration is open. That first week of May, we're going to be talking about all the new things, having opportunities for you to hang out with cool folks like the BIS team and all of our other integrations. And really just a chance to come together as a community and spend time together. But in a very strange webinar way, I think that's about all I'm going to say today, unless there's weird questions. But Megan, take it away.
Awesome. Yes, and I'm Megan, the Product Development Director here at Ministry Platform, and I'm excited. You're used to hearing Chris and I, but I'm excited to introduce a new voice that you'll be hearing more of, and that is the lovely Vicki Berkheimer. So Vicki has been a part of our community for a long time as a Ministry Platform SPAC. She's also been a moonlighter for us doing training for a long time as well, and we're really excited to have her join our team recently as our new integration specialist. So she has been running the ball on this new integration, and Chris and I are so excited to have her on the team and have her spearheading our efforts on the integrations front. So Vicki, can you say hello?
Hey, everybody.
So Vicki's going to give us the walkthrough here and just a little bit of the things from the Ministry Platform side. And then, like I said, you'll be hearing more and more from her in the future webinars as well. Also with us from the BIS team, we have Kathy and Chris. Amber also was supposed to join us today, but unfortunately is sick, so she's not able to join us today. But I'm going to hand it over to them. They're going to talk a little bit about BIS, and then we will continue with the details on the integration itself. So I'm going to hand the screen over to Chris. And Kathy, Chris, feel free to say hello while we make the transition on screens here.
All right. This is Chris Garrett. I'm with Background Information Services. I'm the Director of Operations, and Amber was at MPUG last year, which is what started our talk with Chris and integrating with Ministry Platform. Both Amber and I have worked with faith-based organizations in the past with a previous screening company, so we're very familiar with unique needs that your churches have, and we're excited to work with you. We're integrated with a couple of other platforms, so we have the knowledge and the experience that you will need or desire to help you determine your screening program and how you want to screen your employees and volunteers. Just a little bit quick about BIS. We've been in business for over 30 years. We work with clients all over the nation and globally as well, so do international screening as well as domestic screening. Between Kathy and Amber and I, we have about 20 years of experience in the screening industry, so we should be able to answer any question you throw at us, but you know, there's always something new that comes up, so don't hesitate to reach out. So you saw pictures. Kathy's there on the left. Amber is on the right. I'm in the middle. Both Kathy and Amber will be at MPUG this year, and they're super excited to meet you. A little bit about BIS and how we report and why we think we're a good fit for the Ministry Platform. We are very compliance oriented. We maintain strict procedures to ensure that we comply with FCRA, which is federal, but also state, local, and municipality requirements when it comes to background screening. I know a lot of people have heard about FCRA, which is at the federal level, but municipality, there are cities within our wonderful United States that have their own rules and regulations with regards to what we can and can't report. So we're very cognizant of that and ensure that any report we send to you is compliant right down to your municipality. We don't perform or charge extra for red flag reviews. That is part of our service. We verify every hit that comes back to ensure that it's accurate and current. You won't see any stale or otherwise inaccurate information from our national, quote unquote, you can't see me doing air quotes, but quote unquote national database search, which we refer to as the multi-state jurisdictional search. There are no setup fees or subscription fees with BIS. We do not charge a monthly or annual minimum for usage requirements. We customize all of our packages, so it depending on what your needs are. The needs can be based on position, on budget, risk tolerance. Kathy and Amber will work with you to find a package and product and program that fits your unique needs, and those will be set up through the ministry platform integration. So you won't have something set that you have to choose from. You'll be able to create your own products that meet your needs. Turnaround times are fairly quick when it comes to just criminal searches. So we typically have a profile done and completed within 3 days or less. There are some areas out there where the records are going to take a little bit longer, depending on location. Rural areas in Wyoming and Montana, New York, Vermont, those areas may take a little longer. If there's extensive records we need to review, that might take a little longer. But otherwise, you can expect an average 3-day turnaround time. Our customer service team, one of the things BIS is proud of is our customer service and the tenure of our employees. The average tenure of our employees is 10 years. So there's a lot of experience and knowledge just talking to our customer service team. So don't hesitate to ask them a question. If you call in and need an answer, they'd be happy to help you. And they're in the office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Time. A little bit about the integration, which I know Vicki is going to go over, but this is the email that your applicant will see when a background check is triggered from Ministry Platform. The email that you see is pretty standard, but this can be customized with any language that you want to add to it. We see many of our churches will add information about specific roles or requirements beyond just the background check. So be sure to work with Amber and Kathy on what you might want your email to say to your applicant. We do ask them to complete it within 24 hours so that the process isn't delayed, and they have a link they click in to complete the information we need to process the background check. The information they input will be dependent upon the package you've selected. So if it's just criminal information, we will require a social security number and a date of birth, which I know sometimes can make people uncomfortable to provide that personal information, but all of our sites are secure. We do meet the standards in order to accept that information. So we maintain those certificates continually through audits and our accreditation process. But the social security number helps us determine that some of those records might be a match with those more common names using the date of birth, address history, et cetera. This is the disclosure. So after the applicant has entered the information we need to complete the background check, they will be asked to give us permission to run the background check. The disclosure is really important because it tells them what we plan on doing and searching. This can also be changed. So if you're not running credit history, that information can be removed. I know that it can make volunteers a little concerned when they see that credit history wording there, but for some employers, they do check credit, and if that's something you need to do, please be sure to talk to Kathy and Amber about the scenarios where that's appropriate. So they will sign everything electronically and then hit the next button, and from there they'll sign an authorization. So there's 2 steps to that. I didn't put that in here, but there are 2 steps to that. And then once that's completed, they'll get confirmation that it's ready to go and it has been sent to us, and then we will begin our processing of the order. And once it's completed, it will be sent back to Ministry Platform, and you guys will be able to take it from there. So what we have here is a completed report. This is a individual that is made up. All of the information here is made up. His name is Hank Mess, and he has a mess of records here. The first part will tell you this is the file number, who we ran the report for, the report date, the order date, and the type of service that was ordered. The next piece is the applicant information, and the social security number and the date of birth will always be truncated to protect the applicant. This will show the address information that the applicant entered. If there was identity development, which would be like a social security number trace or validation, that would be listed here. Investigative is where we start our court searches. So it's court and public record history. This particular one is a statewide search. And so as we go through, it tells us the results that there were records found on this particular name with this date of birth and where the records were found. And then it goes into the abstract, which is the information about the record. So this particular offense was a felony and for jumping, and I'm not sure why that was a felony, but apparently it was not a good jump. The next thing will be the criminal database search that we talked about. If there are any records here, it would refer you back to the statewide or county where that record was found to read through that information. And that's just a quick criminal report. They're pretty easy to read. Each search is divided so that you can understand where the record came from, whether it was a statewide search, a county search, a federal search, or from the multi-state jurisdictional report. If there's any information that you don't understand or want more clarification on, you're more than welcome to call us, and we're happy to walk through that with you. And that concludes my end of my portion of the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I will get it handed over to Vicky. I will just I didn't mention it earlier because we were introducing all kinds of exciting people, but as always, I already see questions coming in on the question chat, so that's perfect. So if you have questions throughout the webinar, don't hesitate to add them to the question queue, and we will answer them and possibly even ask them live on the webinar here. And we appreciate your engagement in it. So I'm going to get this passed over to Vicky, and she's going to walk us through kind of how the integration looks on the ministry platform side, and just to kind of close the loop there on how this integration works.
Great, so let's jump right in here to our actual integration. Our first and most important start is going to be to run our selection. We can do that from the contacts, the participants, or the background checks pages. Once we have our selection, we go up to tools and we run the BIS background check tool. Once the tool launches, the first tab that will open is for current and expired checks. Now, our 3 people that we've got in our selection right now do not have any records found yet, so this tab appears empty. When we click into our second tab, No Checks, we see that Joe and Hank have not had a background check request processed yet. Our next step is to select their names and choose the background type. So this is where you'll have the pre-configured packages through BIS, and anything that you choose with them will appear in this dropdown. Our next step is to select the ministry that's requesting the background checks, and then we're going to go ahead and click the blue Create Background Requests button. Upon clicking that button, we're presented with a pop-up. This is the BIS Certification of Use pop-up. Once you've read through that, you go ahead and click Complete. The tool will let you know that all background requests have been created and are ready to be filled out. This automatically creates a background check record, and this also sends the information to BIS, and as soon as they receive it, they send out that email that you saw that goes to the contact. It moves us over into the processing tab, where we can see now that Joe and Hank are processing as of 1:30, which is right now. And then we can also see that I have a request sent to me as of 1:16. Just in case we ever wanted to have any of our users or our volunteer coordinators who wanted to check the status but didn't have rights to the background check page, they can run this tool and check under processing and see what's going on. Over into the background check page itself, we have Joe's record. As you can see, once we run the tool, it gives us the date of 1:30 and what time it was run. We also get a note added to let us know that an email has been sent. And as a reminder, I can see what package I requested for him. Once Joe receives the email and fills everything out, we have our second pass at the record, where now our background check submitted date has been updated. And our notes also indicates that now his record is processing through BIS. Once BIS completes that and sends it over to us again, we now have the record updated a third time with the date that the background check was returned. If there are no flags on the report, then we can go ahead and set the all clear to true so that you don't have anything left to do there. It also updates the note field with completed, so we know that we're finished with that. This is an example of if you were to select multiple people and you wanted to check the different statuses, you can see that Arnold Aardvark, he is all clear, but his record is expired. We can see that Polly Pepper is not clear to serve. We can see that Minnie Mouse has had 2 background checks run on her, different packages here. And then we can see that both of her statuses have come back as all clear. For Hank, as we saw when we read his report, he had a lot of issues going on with his felony for jumping. And so as that would come through, that obviously would not be set to all clear true. It would be left as undefined. That way you as the church are able to make the decision on how to proceed based upon your church policy. You can notice that the status here is set waiting for decision. That's waiting for decision for the church, not waiting for a decision from BIS. We have a whole bunch of additional information and examples, so please make sure that you check out our BIS KB articles. And if you are interested in setting up with BIS for this integration, your first step is going to be to contact them. You can email them at sales@bisi.com. Megan, I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Great. Thank you, Vicki, for giving us the walkthrough there. We will look at questions here while we are getting the question queue organized. I will also just remind you to save the date for next week. We have a webinar about webhooks. So if you've done any type of custom development or you are interested in that kind of thing, webhooks are an awesome new feature that we have in the platform that you'd like to understand a little bit more about. Please feel free to register and join us. Also working on getting some more webinars in the queue for the rest of the winter and the spring as we head towards MPUG, which is what Chris also mentioned. So please save the date for that. So we will look at some questions now. So if anybody has any questions, please add them to the queue and we'll be working through them. So Chris and Vicki, please feel free to chime in as you have answers. So the first question I have here is for Julie. Can you have different email templates for different audiences? For example, staff applicants versus volunteers?
We can change the email based on the package type. So then in that example, I would say we would create a package that was an employee or staff package, and then a package that was for volunteers, and then we could change the email based on the package.
And another question from Denise is, does BIS work on a prepayment basis? Or you billed monthly for background checks just ordered that month?
We bill monthly, so at the end of each month, you'll get an invoice for your background checks for the entire month. So you don't have to do a prepay plan with us.
Awesome. And Phyllis is asking about the disclosure. She's saying they wouldn't need credit background on volunteers, but maybe for an employee. Can you tailor the form? And this is related to the email question, but this is more about the form. Can you tailor the form for volunteers versus employees? Or do we just need to explain that it's always going to be there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. We can change that language depending on the package. We've worked with a lot of churches who prefer to keep their employee background checks out of the software platform that they're using. And if that's what you'd like to do, you can certainly have an account directly with us that would be billed in the same way so that you're not getting 2 different bills. But then you could use our direct software and send an email just like was shown here to employees, and so that that is separate. So it's completely up to you, but that is totally an option.
Anybody
That's really cool. And then I just want to say one thing, Megan, I didn't hear us really cover it, but can we spend like just 1 minute and draw out like the difference between this and our current background check? I feel like we glossed over the fact that this process doesn't involve the portal at all. So could you or Vicki just kind of like high level, like just mention, a couple of the advantages there?
Sure, I can do it.
Thanks.
So one of the advantages is that this is a much simpler integration for the church to have to manage and work through. So once we pull up the contacts and run the tool, pretty much we're finished at that point. We're not managing the email after it's set and forget it with BIS. In fact, Amber was telling me today that as a customer, you don't even have to go into their site and edit it yourself. You can basically send them an email and they'll actually do it for you, which I thought was excellent customer service. So we don't have to work with the email templates anymore the same way within the portal. And then we're also not kicking it out to a portal form. So we don't have to be responsible for that at all. We're completely skipping the portal, sending the information straight to the provider, and they're sending it straight back into our background check record. Much simpler.
Love getting rid of the middleman. That's great.
I used to be that middleman, so I don't know what you're saying right now. I mean, I'm not sure that I like this. No, I'm just teasing. Thanks, Vicky. I want to say this is definitely, I'm more excited about this integration because the other side of it is if BIS comes out with a package that you want, we have to do no work for it to be supported. So like with the old background check integration, every time there was a different package that somebody wanted where it needed a driver's license or I don't know, whatever new requirement suddenly
Right.
popped up, our customers, you guys were all having to wait for us to go build that into the portal and then roll it out. And now this is so much simpler. We tell them who needs the background check and what type, and they take it from there and we get the results back. So super excited about this integration and great job. Great job, everybody.
Chris, anything you'd like to say in closing?
Just we're super excited for the opportunity to work with your churches, and we welcome any questions that they may have regarding services, pricing, recommendations. We've been around for a while, and so we're happy to help them figure out a background screening program that works for them.
Awesome. Well, thank you all, everybody, Chris and Vicky and Chris from BIS and Kathy and Amber. I thank you all for your hard work on getting this integration off the ground. We're looking forward to seeing some of our customers start using it and enjoying the additional features and efficiency of this new integration. And we will talk to you all next time. Thank you so much for your time and for joining us.
Thank you.
Bye.